What if I told you there's a member of the royal family sitting on information so radioactive it could end marriages, rewrite history, and make Buckingham Palace wish it never built balconies in the first place? Yeah, let's get into it. Because behind the polite smiles and PR-approved silence, there's been a quiet rumble coming from the shadows. And according to people close enough to hear it, that rumble has a name: Prince Andrew. And apparently he's talking, like really talking. And if the whispers are even half true, Meghan Markle is sweating her way through Montecito yoga mats right now. Before we go any further, don't forget to hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you're into this kind of slow-burn royal chaos. It helps the channel more than you think, and trust me, the saga is only getting messier from here. Most people forget how nuclear Andrew's fall really was. The guy wasn't just cancelled, he was vaporized. The royal velvet rope didn't loosen for him, it snapped. His ties to Jeffrey Epstein didn't just stain his reputation, they incinerated it. Once Virginia, now Virginia Giuffre, stepped forward with her accusations, the Duke of York went from minor royal with awkward interviews to public pariah faster than the palace could schedule a press statement. Titles gone, duties gone, doors slammed shut. That BBC interview still lives rent-free on the internet, somewhere between tragedy and comedy. But here's the twist. Andrew didn't go quietly. He went into exile with a memory full of names, schedules, flights, rooms, and conversations. And, this matters, he knows exactly who else was present during that era. So now you have to ask, if Andrew was dragged across the coals because of Epstein, why has there been dead silence about Meghan Markle's alleged connection to the same world? Same time period, same social circles, same parties, same yachts, very different outcomes. One royal punished harshly, one royal protected like a priceless vase. No tabloid frenzy, no investigative press, no BBC special, no palace scolding, just nothing. And that nothing is louder than any headline. According to the reports floating through the London cocktail circuit, Andrew isn't just venting, he's hinting. He's tired of being the lone sacrifice. He's tired of being the public villain while Meghan plays humanitarian and Netflix narrator. And most importantly, he's tired of keeping certain things off the record. Which brings us to the name everyone avoids like it's a curse: Jeffrey Epstein. We know Andrew's connection. It's not even disputed at this point. But Meghan's? That file is treated like it never existed, except it allegedly does. If you go digging into Epstein's final years, a name pops up: Karina Shuliak. She wasn't just a girlfriend, she was allegedly the last woman in his orbit, and her life reportedly ran through the private jets, yachts, and exclusive circles that defined Epstein's influence. And yet, because nothing is coincidence in this universe, pictures appear of Meghan in 2014 on a yacht in the same social sphere. Coincidence? Maybe. Convenient? Absolutely. But according to sources, not accidental. And then there's Virginia, the woman who single-handedly forced Andrew into the palace bunker. Legal insiders claim her team once considered calling Meghan Markle as a witness. Why? Because Meghan allegedly knew her from those days. That alone should have caused headlines. Instead, silence. So quiet, it's almost suspicious. And that's where the panic begins. For the record, drop a comment right here, because I'm curious. Do you think the palace is ignoring this because protecting Meghan is beneficial, or because exposing her would drag half the institution down with her? I have theories, but I want to see where you stand. Now let's talk about the key figure you never see in the documentaries, never hear in the speeches, and never find smiling next to Harry in Montecito: Marcus Anderson.
If Meghan was writing a novel, Anderson is the unseen character that shows up 3 chapters before the twist. He's the connector, the introducer, the organizer. He ran Soho House's global network, the same Soho House that doesn't exactly cater to average people with Groupon memberships. The whispers say Anderson wasn't just a friend, he was a handler. Not in the Hollywood sci-fi sense, more in the social engineering sense. People like Anderson don't befriend actresses because they enjoy craft services. They hand-pick rising stars to mingle with the billionaire playground. Allegedly, he plucked Meghan out of Toronto's mid-tier celebrity pool around 2011. She goes from cable TV actress to suddenly being at the right tables, New York, London, Istanbul. Not just with A-listers, but with the money crowd. The people who don't post photos, don't do interviews, and don't show up to premieres unless it's a charity gala where the champagne is older than their marriages. And that crowd overlapped with Andrew's circle at the time. So when the public imagines Harry scrolling through Instagram, finding Meghan, and thinking, wow, she's cute, the insiders laugh, because according to Andrew, Meghan was already in orbit long before Harry entered the chat. Anderson had the blueprint, and if Andrew opens his mouth, that whole blueprint stops being rumor and starts being evidence. Now here's the twist most people missed. The original target allegedly wasn't Harry, it was Andrew. Makes sense when you think about it. Back then he still had prestige, money, status, mansions, and the royal prince shine. He was the wealthy, established option, and Meghan has never been quiet about liking wealth, status, and access. The woman didn't climb ladders, she repelled them. But Andrew came with a problem, Sarah Ferguson. Fergie is Andrew's ex-wife, but she's also his best friend, roommate, co-parent, PR shield, and human firewall. They're basically divorced roommates with loyalty clauses, and Fergie allegedly spotted Meghan's campaign from across the room. If Meghan was playing chess, she expected to face Harry. Instead, she got Fergie, who plays the long royal game by muscle memory. According to people familiar with the York camp, Fergie shut the whole thing down. No introductions, no flirtation phase, no Duchess auditions. Meghan wasn't just blocked, she was politely erased. And that's where the pivot happens. Meghan doesn't leave the royal sphere, she just recalculates. She sets her sights on the weaker link, Prince Harry. Harry, the emotional one. Harry, the idealist. Harry, the outsider. Harry, the man desperate for validation after losing his mother, his military identity, and his position in royal pecking order. Sources claim Fergie spotted that too, which makes the York camp's current silence very expensive. Meanwhile, in California, the Disney fairy tale is fraying. The Netflix glow has faded, the Spotify deals dried up faster than British humor in the sun, and now, according to the noise leaking out of Montecito, Harry is finally reading the fine print of the life he signed up for. The talk is that the palace warned him before the wedding. They tried to tell him about Meghan's network, her social ambitions, and her past proximity to certain people and places. Harry dismissed it all as elitism and racism. Now sources claim he's staring down documents and photos he cannot unsee. Imagine finding out your wife allegedly had ties to the same man who destroyed your uncle's life. Imagine the humiliation, the rage, the confusion. Harry reportedly feels trapped, cut off from his old support system with 2 kids and a marriage that's beginning to resemble a gilded cage. Sources claim he's disgusted, doesn't want to even be in the same room at times. It's messy, and that's before the Andrew factor detonates. Because here's the real kicker. Andrew is reportedly done protecting her, done protecting the palace, done being the family scapegoat, and done watching Meghan play victim on Netflix while he plays hermit at Royal Lodge. He has nothing left to lose, and a man with nothing left to lose is a cinematic problem. At this point, you're probably wondering, if Meghan's alleged connections are real and the palace has the receipts, why hasn't anyone pushed the red button?
Congratulations, you've reached the most uncomfortable part of this saga. The palace isn't protecting Meghan, the palace is protecting itself. If they expose her pre-royal life, then they expose how she got into the palace, who vouched for her, who enabled it, and who ignored the warnings. That chain leads to throne-adjacent rooms, not Montecito kitchens. Even worse, it drags the Epstein orbit back into public light, which the monarchy has spent years trying to bury under charity events, coronations, and well-timed weddings. So they hold their fire, not out of love, but out of fear. They're waiting for the moment where outing Meghan doesn't also torch the Windsor brand. Waiting for Andrew to speak first, waiting for Harry to crack, waiting for public sentiment to shift, waiting for the domino that falls without toppling the entire board. And while they wait, Meghan's past sits uncomfortably close to resurfacing. Before the tiaras, before the humanitarian speeches, before the Netflix confessionals, there was Toronto. There was Soho House, there was Jess Mulrooney, there were billionaires, there were yachts, there were European trips, and there was ambition. Not small ambition, calculated ambition. She built networks, she cut people off as soon as their usefulness expired, she gamed the social ladder like it was a strategy video game. And she made one fatal error, she burned the Yorks. When Andrew and Fergie were collapsing under public pressure, Fergie allegedly reached out for help, favors, or at least public support. Meghan, now believing she was royalty by merit and Montecito by destiny, ghosted them. Cold, efficient, final. But she misunderstood one thing about old money and ancient institutions. The people you discard are sometimes the ones holding the nuclear codes. Now Andrew sits with the codes, and the palace sits with the files, and Meghan sits in California, pretending the storm is just a rumor. But it's not. It's the silence right before thunder. So here we are, final act energy. Picture Andrew in quiet exile, watching the California circus unfold, with no titles, no dignity, and no leash. He is a disgraced prince with an inconveniently good memory and a very large grudge. He's tired of being the monster, while Meghan is the misunderstood heroine. Tired of being eaten alive by the press, while she tours Hollywood studios, pitching children's animation. And reportedly, he's ready to talk. If he goes public, this doesn't just touch Meghan. It touches Anderson, it touches Soho House, it touches Epstein, it touches the monarchy, it touches Harry, it touches the narrative, it might even touch the future of the crown. And that's why Meghan is panicking, that's why the palace is frozen, and that's why the York family's silence feels like the silence before a betrayal. The fairy tale is over, the masks are cracking, and the next chapter isn't written by Netflix, it's written by a man Meghan once tried to climb over. If you made it this far, hit the subscribe button, because this story is nowhere near done. Drop a comment too. Tell me if you think Andrew will actually go nuclear, or if the palace will muzzle him at the last second. Either way, thank you for watching and hanging out. Appreciate you.